Tigers take the series versus North Alabama as a great and fantastic two-pitcher performance by Anthony Ianson and Zach Cowan will lead the Tigers to a victory. Outside of the first inning, the Tigers absolutely blank the North Alabama Lions. We will discuss that here today as LSU, as we just mentioned, takes the series. Overall, good day, man. Overall, really good day. A team that, quite frankly, you just have shut down the first two games. Thought it was interesting. I don't know who was on the call today, but Jay trying to get a Power 4 team in here the weekend before the SEC play, and they cancel on you. People don't want to come to the box and face a really good opponent. But we will break down game 2 of LSU baseball and the victory today and the series win. We'll break down each inning. The first day of LSU football camp started today. What do we know? Who were the guys starting? What happened today from a bird's eye view that we can account here for you today? So we'll touch on that as well. Who were the starters? Where were they at? What did the receivers look like? The defensive line. Was Kyle Williams there? Yes, he was. We will confirm that. Who was your starting right tackle today? We'll get to that as well. A lot that we'll get to on the gridiron as much as we'll get into on the diamond today. We are monitoring the LSU basketball game that will be starting against number 22 Texas A&M. You're not here to talk about basketball on this show today, but we will still be monitoring that. Every post-game show brought to you by our good friends over at betonline.ag. If you use that promo code BELIEVE50, that is BELIEVE50, B-L-E-A-V, 50, you'll receive a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, where the game starts. Also, our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media, referrals. If you're an HVAC work, have that. If you're a generator pro, electrical, whatever you need those referrals, you need those leads, get over to our good friends over at Service Hawk Digital Media, where they will soar above the competition. Guys, I've been doing this for a long time. No one in the greater Baton Rouge and greater New Orleans area is better at generating leads for your business than Service Hawk Digital Media. Trust me, I am in the game, and no one is better than them. All right, everybody do us a favor, too, before we get rolling here. Hit the like and share to all those groups if you're on Facebook and to all those social media pages. You're watching us, listening to us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, notification bell. Share, wherever you're listening to. It helps us grow. We greatly, greatly appreciate when y'all do that. Let's go to the diamond. Another first inning for Anthony Ianson does not start off the way that he would like, as Delgado and Kraska double and gets an RBI. Does Delgado on the walk that Anthony Ianson gave up on the second batter of the day. Kraska heads an RBI single right back up the middle. Listen, one thing I got to say about Anthony Ianson, even in the first, the dude just never seems rattled to me, man. Whether it was Nebraska, I felt like if you put a pulse locks on his ass, his pulse is not getting above 90, right? Like, I don't think that the dude ever really gets rattled. My man answered the bell after giving up 2 hits. He gives up a walk, a double, and an RBI single, and that would be it. Literally, that would be it. They touched you in the first. Good on them. A lot of adrenaline flowing for North Alabama, but it's how you respond in these situations. And back-to-back starts for Anthony Ianson, got rocked a little bit, came back and absolutely positively responded. Let's get to it. So in the first, as we talked about, the walk, the double RBI, and the RBI single he gives up. After that, after going 1/3 of an inning, guys, he would absolutely go off. He would strike out Wilson and Billingsley to end the first. He would come out in the top of the second, go 1, 2, 3. He would K up the side, getting strikeouts 4, 5, and 6 in the second inning. In the top of the third, he would start off with a strikeout, getting his 7th. Then 8th strikeout for out number 2. He would give up a walk to Delgado, but a weak fly ball to Tanner Reeves would get him out of the inning. You go into the 4th inning, he gets a fly out to Jared Jones, a weak dribbler to Jared Jones. So 2 quick outs on 5 pitches. He would come at the end of the 4th inning and get his 9th K of the evening. You go to the top of the 5th, he gets a strikeout on Faringo and Jenkins, 10 and 11, and then gets a weak ground ball to Stephen Milam. That would get him out of the inning. You go to the 6th. He leads it off with a strikeout, a weak ground ball to Danny Dickinson, and a fly out to Derek Curiel. At that point, through 6 innings, I honestly thought that even though he had thrown 80 pitches, I'm like, are they going to extend him here? I hope they do, to see what he looks like, and Jay did. You go into the 7th, and what was probably the most impressive to me is you've already thrown 80 pitches. You're at the end of the day. It's been a long day. Sun peeking out, starting to get a little warm outside. And how does Anthony Ianson in his day? He gets 3 straight strikeouts by swinging. He gets his 13th, 14th, and 15th strikeout in the 7th inning. Now, North Alabama is not a good team. You know that, and I know that. Anytime that you strike out anybody, any team in college athletics 15 times, you are on one. The thing that we need to point out about Anthony Ianson is simple. The dude just, for me, never seems rattled at all, ever. I mean, that is more impressive to me than anything. I do appreciate 2 of those strikeouts. I made a note of this. The 14th strikeout and the 7th strikeout that Anthony Ianson had was a foul tip that Luis Hernandez stayed very big behind the plate, was able to hold on, and got both of those strikeouts. What an absolutely amazing performance by Anthony Ianson today. When we look through what he did, he went 7 innings, giving up 2 hits, 2 unruns. He only gave up 2 hits in the first inning. So for 6 innings, guys, 6 innings. After that, he was damn near perfect outside of allowing a walk today. But 7 innings, 2 hits, 2 unruns, 2 base on balls, 15 big strikeouts for the UC San Diego or San Diego UCSB transfer. Absolutely delivering. He was definitely on one today. I mean, I don't know what to say, man. And the pitch count I thought was brilliant. I mean, you would just not want to have that rough of a start of a first inning. That happened in back-to-back starts. But, I mean, again, you have a guy that's responding after getting touched a little bit, and he never seems to be phased. I can't emphasize, like I was trying to think throughout the game what I could come out here and say about Anthony Ianson and what we're seeing. And the only thing that I can say is I feel like I'm seeing a guy that's been there before, right? Like a guy that, like, look, man, no matter what happens, he's going to continue to go out there and throw strikes. His changeup and curveball and slider today were on point. I mean, he made these guys look really bad. Again, as we talked about last night, what does a guy like him look when he gets into SEC play? That is going to be a big question. But listen, man, I see the faith that Jay has in him. If he's going to have that amount of control and he's going to be able to work out of some of these situations for you, he's going to be tough to beat. Got to clean up some of the stuff that he's doing in the first inning, though. You know that, and I know that. But he definitely is cleaning it up. So, all in all, really good. You go into the top of the 8th. Zach Cowan comes in, gets a walk, but gets a strikeout, a fly out to Luis Hernandez, and strikes out Rippon, who's been really good. You go to the top of the 9th. He strikes out the side. He gets strikeouts 3, 4, and 5. Just absolutely dominating performance. In reference to Zach Cowan, outside of Kason Evans, I don't know if there's another person that Jay Johnson trusts in that bullpen more than Zach Cowan. I do think that you're going to see a lot of appearances and a lot of situations for Zach Cowan. Now you go into a Sunday, guys, you can throw as many as you'd like. You would love to see Chase Shores get a little bit of extended. And then that way you give pretty much a whole week of rest or weekend of rest. At least these guys aren't having to put in a lot of work after doing what you did the previous week. Anthony Ianson delivered for you today, man, because you needed the bullpen to get a little bit of a break. He gave it to you, and he delivered. You got so many different options to go to tomorrow. It will be interesting to see what they do tomorrow. Like, who do they go to? Who do they want to get work to? Because you have so many options that you can go to. All in all, I mean, that was probably as impressive as of a day on the mound as you can have. I mean, guys, what, 19 strikeouts total? 19 or 18 out of the 27 outs that you got garnered. You struck them out. I mean, that's absolutely impressive. You're not going to see anything like that. I did see something interesting. LSU announced that the first time a pitcher had 15 strikeouts, the last time that it happened for LSU was Paul Skeens. That is not correct. Mic'd Up put this out there. Ty Floyd in Omaha had 17 strikeouts. So yeah, I don't, I love giving Paul Skeens and saying that we're putting a performance together like Paul Skeens, but don't forget about our guy Ty Floyd, man. Ty Floyd in that game. What was it? Game 1, guys? Game 1, game 2? I forget. Might have been game 1. No, it was definitely game 1 that happened because you got obliterated in game 2. So yeah, all in all, fantastic performance. At the plate, guys, listen, a lot to be desired. Let's get to this. We'll go through every inning here, but I got to get to this. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th. Milam leads off with a walk. Josh Pearson leads off with a walk. Hernandez gets a bunt single. The telecast, I don't know what they were seeing. They were like, oh, that's going to be an error. I mean, that's a tough play, man. It's a very tough play. Hernandez beats out a bunt single. It's a bunt single. Come on. Then you got Michael Braswell coming to the plate, and he strikes out on 3 pitches with the bases loaded, no outs. I know that we're going to have a conversation about what Jay Johnson did next. You attempted the suicide squeeze against DBU, but it actually worked a little bit for you today. I know that Josh Pearson got out on it. But, man, you got to start delivering in some of these situations. I know that you're going to say, oh, my God, Blake Ruffino freaked out in reference to you not being able to execute with the bases loaded. All I am saying is, man, at some point you got to deliver. Like, these guys got to deliver. And for Braswell, he's pressing way too much. He's gotten beat out by Tanner Reeves. I'm sure that he's frustrated and he's really pressing, but he needs to relax. The first pitch he saw was a ball. The second pitch he saw, he was trying to swing for the fences. He's trying to get something going. I get it. You're a senior. It's your last year of baseball. You're trying to get something going. I think Jay is this is my opinion. Jay is trying to put pressure on his team when the bases are on the loaded with the suicide squeeze that you had, which Stanfield laid the bunt down perfectly. I mean, there's nothing that you can do in that situation. I mean, it's perfect. You lay it down, you put the ball on the ground, you're going to score, man. There is no more aggressiveness from what Jay Johnson can do there with the bases loaded to manufacture runs. He knows it's an issue. Guys, with the bases loaded, there is, in less than 2 outs, there's absolutely nothing more aggressive than you can do in that situation. Nothing. He is attempting to manufacture runs. I don't think Josh Pearson, for what it's worth, I don't think he was out of the baseline. And not only do I not think he was out of the baseline, and Jay's going to tell you wasn't out of the baseline in the postgame, I don't think he got touched. But it's a horrible angle, and they can't overturn it. I thought that they would have, but they didn't. You have a coach that's being ultra aggressive. He's doing everything he can to generate runs. I don't blame him here. And Chris Stanfield did a job. So, again, I would love to know what LSU's batting average is with the bases loaded. How many attempts did you have, and what is your batting average with the bases loaded? It cannot be good. It is your kryptonite. And listen, Blake Ruffino is not freaking out about it because Stephen Milam came up literally this past week, bases loaded, and gets again when you're down to North Dakota State, gets a base hit, and you wind up winning the game because of it. One moment, oh, you did it last week. You guys, in baseball, I'm telling you, we've been covering this, guys, for 40 years now. We've been doing many post games. You and I have been through this a lot together. I am telling you what I know and watching every single one of these games. You can point out when there's an issue. Look, that's an issue. I'm not saying to panic. I don't think you should panic. Is it an issue? Yes, it's an issue. Let's point it out and talk about it. It's not panic. It's just something that you need to discuss. People will overreact to thinking that you're panicking and you're not. Just needed to point it out. All right. Let's go through you at the plate. Jared Jones had a day. You know, one of my good buddies, Hunter Thomas, was at the game today. Guy I grew up with. Was with his son at the game. And I texted him. I saw him on the big screen at the game. And I texted him, just a really good friend growing up. And I texted him and I was like, man, it's going to be a good day. You know, I saw you on the big screen, whatever. I was like, man, after last night, you're might see a bomb show. And I texted him, I was like, Jerry Jones is hitting one out. And basically because of what happened last night and everybody hit one out and Jared Jones went 0 for 5, you knew he was going to get one. I'd love to know the distance of how far that ball went that Jared Jones hit. Got to be over 410 feet. I'd love to know how fast it came off the bat. But, I mean, you knew he was going to get one. But Jared Jones leads it off after a pop fly to the third baseman. Gets a double into center field, which could have been a home run. Bryce Kuhn advised that they were told in the press box that if the ball hits the yellow, which Jared Jones at his first at bat, hits the ball off the wall, hits off the yellow. If it hits the yellow and comes back in play, it is not a home run. So he gets a double. Danny Dickinson would fly out into center field. Ethan Fry, back-to-back. I mean, look, Ethan's putting together some hits here. He gets an RBI double, bloop single, or bloops double. They gave him a double. Should have been a single with an advance. But RBI double, bloop into center field. Stephen Milam would walk. Jake Brown would fly out. In the second, you would go 1, 2, 3. Hernandez grounds out to the first baseman on a diving attempt. Tanner Reeves strikes out on a high fastball. Chris Stanfield grounds out to the shortstop. Bottom of the third, Derek Curiel, infield single. Right back up the middle. Diving attempt by the shortstop. He gets it, just can't make a play. RBI double, double, what could have been an RBI. The play that Curiel got held up at third base, but a double in the right center field for Jared Jones. Danny Dickinson strikes out. Ethan Fry fly out to second, and so did Stephen Milam. So runners on, second and third, no outs. You get no runs. Not good. Need to perform a little bit better there. So I think when we just got done talking about the eighth, I think that is why Jay gets a little aggressive in these situations. Look, man, we got runners on. We got to be able to manufacture these runs in any way that we can. I mean, it's just sometimes you have these situations, not a problem. You just got to work through it. But you don't get a run there. Bottom of the fourth, Brown, Hernandez, and Reeves go down in order. None of them strike out. Hernandez hit the ball to the warning track where the center fielder had a leap on the fence to make a play. The bottom of the fifth is where you got things really rolling. This is where Jared Jones came up and hit the big bomb. Stanfield would walk. An RBI double in the left center field by Derek Curiel. A home run by Jared Jones. 2-run home run by Jared Jones in the left field. Danny Dickinson would fly out to the catcher. Ethan Fry, a fly out into center field. Line drive single into center field for Milam. And then John Pearson came up. Let's stop there. Guys, John Pearson's putting a lot of pressure on everybody in that locker room. Last night, you and I talked about, and I'm going to talk about this. We need to talk about John Pearson. John Pearson, let me back up. Last night, you and I discussed if the next time that you see a left-handed batter, you don't put in John Pearson above Ethan Fry. I really want to see more of John Pearson. He just keeps delivering. Today, he had a single ground ball right back up the middle. Had 2 really big hacks before that. That dude is not going to get cheated at the plate. Guys, you got a dilemma on your hands, if we're being honest. And it's a fantastic dilemma at that. We can have the discussion and debate. It doesn't really matter to me who you believe should be in that DH role. At the current moment, I want to see more of John Pearson. A lot more of John Pearson. I think that you should go at the DH spot. You should go the Pearson brothers, one from the left side, one from the right side, and rotate them. That is my opinion. Jay Johnson does not need my opinion. He knows more about baseball than I ever will. It's just my opinion. But for what it's worth, considering coming off the bench, what we've seen from John Pearson, guys, I want to see more of it. In one of these midweeks, shit, even tomorrow, I want to see John Pearson in the lineup. I really do. He keeps delivering, guys. He's 4 for 7 on the season. He's got a home run. The 3 outs that he has, the first out that he ever recorded as an LSU Tiger was an absolute scorcher to the backside and to right field at the warning track in right field on a cold 40-degree night. That dude is not going to be cheated. I will be, for what it's worth, I have absolutely no idea what John Pearson looks like in the field, but at the plate, you got to figure something out because dude can swing it. Like, dude has got power. Here's the thing with John Pearson, too. Guys, as in a career, the dude's going to get bigger, faster, and stronger. He's going to lose some of that baby fat. He's going to put on muscle, and my man's going to swing it. And dude, there's not a time that I feel like that I've seen John Pearson so far this season that he is not, every pitch, he is going to be locked in, and he is going to give you everything he's got. I want to see more of him. But the bottom of the 5th, he gets a ground ball single right back up the middle, and Hernandez would fly out into center field to end the inning. I'm really interested to see what others think about John Pearson. But for me personally, I want to see more. Bottom of the 6th, you go 1, 2, 3. Aaron Beatty strikes out. Stanfield flies out to the shortstop, and Curiel would strike out. Bottom of the 7th, you get 2 flyouts into center field by Jones and Dickinson. Nash and Larson would come in and strike out as well. Man, Ashton Larson looks lost right now. I feel bad for him, but he looks lost. Bottom of the 8th, you get back-to-back walks. We already talked about the 8th. The bunt single by Hernandez and the suicide squeeze would get you an RBI. Pearson would get out. Curiel and Braswell would both strike out in the inning. Guys, you could have blown things open in the 5th. You could have blown things open in the 8th, and you were not unable to deliver in those situations. All in all, though, man, I thought it was a productive day. Very productive day for LSU. Some things left to be desired. Some things you got to get better at. But you look at the 5th, you leave guys on in scoring position. You go to the bottom of the 3rd. You have no outs, runners on 2nd and 3rd. You can't get anybody in. You go to the 8th, you get 1 run with the bases loaded and nobody out. That's how these games wind up being. What was the score? 6-2, 7-2. You could have blown them out. For what it's worth, you couldn't perform when you needed to. So it was what it was. All right. Let's get to some of these comments. David says, if you can't execute in these games, how will you execute in Omaha or postseason? It's a long way to go. Long way to go, but you need to start executing. KC says, live from Morocco. We got people listening and watching him from everywhere. You got to love it. Alex Taylor says, Ianson is a slow starter, but he's got that stuff. Yeah, he's just been starting off slow. He just starts off slow, man. Again, in talking about Anthony Ianson, I don't know how much. I don't know what to make of it. You would not know the way that I see him. You would not know by his body language if the dude is up 10-0 and he's dealing, or he's down 5-0 and he's getting crushed. You wouldn't know. You can't tell. He just goes out there and competes. It also seems like a guy that just has the utmost confidence in his shit. Right? Like, I don't think that – I really, really, really don't think – dude just oozes confidence, man. That's what I see from him. But being able to go 7, Cowan being able to come in and give you 2 innings, You can go in any direction tomorrow. Maybe you get a lot of guys work. Maybe you go inning to get a lot of people work. But you throwing Cowan and Rizzy, right? I mean, like that's what you've had out of the bullpen. Highly impressive. Cortland Jacobs says highest score in program history for the reigning defending national champion gymnastics squad. And then 20 Ks. Okay, so 20 Ks today. Mike Johns sends some stars via Facebook. Thank you, Mike. Max says probably the weekend after Jeremy. Missouri, no bueno. I don't know what the question was asked. Jeremy, okay, here it is. Jeremy says, we shall see what this team is really about next weekend. Probably not next weekend. Probably not against probably not when you're in a situation against Mizzou. They are bad. They are very bad. I don't know how else to put it. I don't even know. They lost last night. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see if they've played already today. They're bad, guys. They are really, really, really bad. Wofford, who you took on last year, Wofford currently is beating Kentucky in the ninth inning. Bottom of the ninth, they're winning 12. They're winning 12-4 over Kentucky. Let's see what we got here. I don't know. I'm looking for Missouri. Missouri. They hadn't played yet. At least this is what this says. But they lost last night to a team that nobody knows who in the hell they are. They are bad. They are very bad. All right. We're not going to be too long here. I got a lot going on. We got the basketball game. Going to be preparing for the UFC fight tonight, by the way. Anybody else in here watch the UFC? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Let's get to some football. So LSU started off spring football today, day one of spring, and I know that a lot of you are anticipating what it would look like. Now, before we get rolling, let's get to this. What we're going to talk about today is going to change up because the guys that were starting, the guys that were in there, the guys that were rotating in day one, helmets, no pads, this is going to look a lot different. My warning to everybody is when we talk about day one of spring football, nothing is locked in. None of these situations are locked in. A lot of guys are going to be rotating, moving around, but this is how it went today. Let's start along the offensive line. Was very curious. So, look, Josh Thompson is not currently with the team. He is going to be graduating from what I understand. And then in a couple of weeks, will make his way into spring football with LSU. But today's starting offensive line looked as such from left to right. Tyree Adams started left tackle. Paul Mabinga started at left guard. DJ Chester started at center. And Braylon Moore backed him up. Bo Bordelon started at right guard. And Weston Davis started at right tackle. Stop right there. That is not going to be your starting offensive line. I guarantee you in a week and a half, 2 weeks, that position is going to look a lot different. When you have a lot of transfers that come in here, I don't think that any coaches necessarily are going to come in here and just start these transfers over these guys that have been here. It's kind of an unwritten rule. I do think it's interesting that Mabinga was at left guard and Chester was at center. I mean, Brian Kelly did tell Wilson Alexander that that Braylon Moore would be at center and Chester would move to guard. So that is interesting. Again, this is not going to be the rotation. This is not going to be who is starting. You got a long way to go in that, but that was your starting rotation. Bo Bordelon did get pulled midway through some of these drills and some of these teamwork stuff. Bordelon got pulled for Cohen Eccles. I don't know what you do with Bo Bordelon. He is not an SEC starter, unfortunately. utilize him in different ways, make him a fullback or whatever you want to do in these goal line situations, do what you got to do. My man's not going to be starting at right guard. For me, I would really like to see what Josh Thompson does and what he looks like when he comes in. I think at the current moment, what you may see and what you could see is, and what I anticipate of being seen, is that Braylon Moore comes in and starts at center, and DJ Chester, for the current moment, starts at right guard. That interior offensive line is going to have a lot of shuffles. I do think that you have some shuffling that will go on at right tackle. Weston Davis did not have a fantastic day either. So you got a lot of rotation in there. It's not settled. It's day one, but that's where it went. Weston Davis, I think that for what it's worth, from what I understand, they were on him all day long. They are trying to get him ready for SEC play. I do hope that if Weston Davis or anybody in Weston Davis's camp listens to this, he's not ready yet. They're trying to get him there. So I am intrigued that Weston Davis did start at right tackle. We did not see that in the bowl game, but he was the guy that started at right tackle. He's got to get with it. He's got to get going. He's got to get moving here. But that was your starting offensive line. All right, let's move over. Defensive line from left to right. We'll go from left to right when we make these starting projections. Jamari Butler started at the left defensive end. Don McKinley was at defensive tackle along with Ahmad Bro. Patrick Payton was at the other end. Both guys were standing up. What do I mean by that? You had two ends that were standing up. Their hands were not in the dirt. That rotation piece is also going to be moved around. I do think it's interesting that Jamari Butler started at one edge. We told you on Thursday, if you were here, Jamari Butler's going to be at one of those edge pieces. He is. He will play more of a role of Savion Jones. And when you get in certain situations, he will get his hand in the dirt. So that was your starting defensive line right there. Pybarn would come in different situations depending on what they were doing. Charles Ross, the freshman, along with Wes Weeks and Donovan Keys, were the rotations at the linebacker spot. So that was your three. At safety, you had Javian Toviano and Tamarcus Coley. The three, listen to this now, the three corners that were rotating in was Ashton Stamps started off along with DJ Pickett and Mansour Delane. A lot of rotation in that corner room, but Stamps, DJ, and Delane were the three corners. Star is going to be interesting. Star is very much going to be interesting. Again, they're not settled there. There will be a lot of rotation, but those were your starting three DBs. At receiver, you had Aaron Anderson along with Chris Hilton and Xavion Thomas. Aaron Anderson was in the slot. Xavion Thomas and Chris Hilton were out wide. Nick Anderson had a brace on his knee and still looked to be a little bit hurt, but was out there moving around. Barian Brown did play the slot, also moved over to X, and had an amazing catch for a touchdown today thrown by MVB. So they are giving Anderson, Hilton, and Xavion, the three guys that were here, they are giving them the starting crack at this. Nick Anderson's health is something that we need to monitor. Barry and Brown did look good with the twos, but a fade route today and some 7-on-7 stuff. Barry and Brown coming down with it in the end zone, and a really good throw by Michael Van Buren. Another person that was a little limped up today and didn't move around a lot was Donovan Green, the tight end. But at tight end, Trey'Dez Green did lead it off, and Bauer Sharp would rotate in with him in certain situations and packages that they would put in. In 7-on-7, you had a touchdown by Barry and Brown. You had some drops in the end zone. Jakeem Jackson had an interception on Garrett in the red zone in the first start of 7-on-7. But all in all, I thought from what I have gathered was a good day. Chris Hilton, for what it's worth, caught a fade route from Garrett Nussmeier in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. So day one, a lot of things rolling around. We will be out there on Wednesday. We were not out there today, but I made some phone calls. You can take what we just told you to the bank. Jakeem Jackson, the DB from Florida, the transfer, is going to be somebody that's very interesting here as well. From what I understand, he had a fantastic day. So can he make some moves here as well? So that was your day one of camp. There was some notes that we gathered here as well. It will be interesting. Your offensive line's not remotely close to being settled. Your defense is not close to being settled. I do find it interesting with a Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins-esque and those guys being out, how you did things in your DB room. I don't like Javian Toviano at free safety. For what it's worth, I don't like it. I don't mind Tamarcus Coley coming down on the slot if you need to, along with Stamps, along with Delane, and along with DJ Pickett, who did not come down the slot, but he played the other boundary. It's going to be interesting to see how they do this during spring. Very interesting. This Jackson kid had a big day. Big day one. Had a really good pick on Nuss in the red zone. Was playing the really good coverage. And listen, you want to go after a new guy, see what he's got. See what you got. Fine by me. Fine by me. That's going to happen. So that is your day one wrap up here as we get through football. I'll get a couple questions if we have some here before we move on or get out of here. Anthony says, Blake, what are your thoughts on LSU Texas women's basketball game? Do you think LSU stands a chance without Johnson? I think with Kim Mulkey as your head coach, anything's possible. That's what I think. All right. We got to get out of here. I got to run. See y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.